All right, we live.
We live, brother. We live, man.
It's been a minute.
Hell yeah.
Well, I guess we'll start off just by saying we don't have our brother Carl with us. He's in the middle of moving, and so it's just going to be the two of us, which I think that's okay. I think people are really tired of Carl anyways, so...
Too much Carl lately.
No, we would love to have Carl with us, but... Anyways, we got a lot to chat about today because so much time has been since our last podcast, man. And I want to start out with the Oblivion Remake, which just launched today. Dude, my Oblivion experience, we'll talk about yours, then we'll talk about mine. Because, for mine, it was my first entry into Bethesda. And, I could never, it has the same starting kind of quest scenario. And I won't spoil anything from you because you really haven't played it. Every playthrough, right? Just like Skyrim did. And so I never made it much farther than that because I didn't understand the map system and how to get around. And I made it to the one major city. And the problem is I played it in 2010 for the first time. It came out, I think, in 2006. So it was a 4-year-old game, but even then, not being that old, the graphics were rough. Right. I just didn't like the textures. It just didn't appeal to me. So I never sunk into it. And then Skyrim, I got caught up in the hype of Skyrim, and I went to the midnight release for that at GameStop when I was in college, and Skyrim blew me away. So I've been a Bethesda fan since then, and anyways, and so that's my entrance into Bethesda games, and I'll talk about my thoughts on the Oblivion remake today because I've been playing it for the last hour. But you said earlier, what were you saying about
I've never played Oblivion, and that's the interesting thing is because I was console, until recently within the last 3 to 5 years. And so I never played any of the older PC, the PC games that were always the best. They needed the, PC in order to run games back then, which is interesting to say that now because consoles are now able to play 8K games. Whereas back in the day, you were kind of relegated to that 720p, with the Nintendos, the Segas and stuff like that. So I never even got a chance to play Oblivion, but I also was there for Skyrim when it came to the console. And, that is my favorite game of all time. Bar none, hands down, Skyrim is still to this day. Sometimes I'll just get on there and just go around the map and different stuff like that just to hear the music, to hear the soundtrack.
Yeah. It blew me away. I've never been sucked into a game like that of that magnitude because I wasn't really an RPG guy until Skyrim hit. And then it was something about the simplicity of the menu and obviously the setting and the colors and just, man, that game hit hard. And it still does to this day. It holds up well. And that's why it is it the best selling game of all time? Because you could buy it on anything.
I have to look that up because I feel like it's close. Because to your point, I myself have purchased it several times in all its all its variations because I forget it's stored on a hard drive on an older PC or something like that, and I forget how to download. Let's see, what is the biggest selling game of all time?
Yeah, I'm curious because Skyrim's got to be up there.
Minecraft is.
Oh,
that makes perfect sense.
That
over
makes
300
sense.
million copies.
Golly,
over 300 million copies. That's crazy.
I wonder what Skyrim's at with all of its because it's on the Switch. It's on TI 84 plus calculators for college. Skyrim's on everything, dude.
I'm trying to see here. It's interesting because there's a lot of games on here that we forget about. So I'm on a list. It's HP.com top 50.
Just do the top 5. Let's see what they are.
Okay, here we go. Minecraft is number 1.
Okay.
Grand Theft Auto 5 is number 2.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Tetris is number 3.
Which version? Just the original Tetris?
Tetris, EA, September 12th, 2006 release, EA Mobile Electronics, 100 million copies.
Wow. Oh, mobile games is on there? That must be why.
Wii Sports is number 4.
That came with the console. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. No, I'm sorry. It was separate, but it was a great game.
Player Unknown Battlegrounds, number 5.
PUBG. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, PUBG, number 5.
Okay.
70 million copies.
So maybe
Minecraft is number... I'm not Minecraft. Skyrim is number 19.
Okay. How many copies sold?
30 million.
Wow. God.
Which is crazy.
And
Red Dead Redemption has 38 million. Red Dead Redemption 2.
That's crazy.
That's
to
a
me.
That's
it really
a solid
is.
game.
So let's dive into the Oblivion remake, because I never could get into it. And I started playing it today, and it's giving me the same feeling that Skyrim gave me when it first came out.
Really?
Because part of it helps that I got a new OLED monitor, so the blacks are like really nice. And so when like you're in a dark place, it's like immersive. But like that was one of my biggest things with the game, is like the textures, polygons, all that stuff was rough back in the day when OG Oblivion came out. In this game,
did we notice it though? Not to cut you off, but did we notice that it was rough back in the day, or is it looking back?
That's the thing. I noticed it when I first started playing it. And it was 4 years old at the time. I didn't play it brand new, right? But I noticed it when I first picked it up, and I was like, oh, I just can't get into it. Because that's right when like the PS3 was starting to like be the next level of system, and stuff was starting to look really good. And I just couldn't get into it. And I always had I was a dual console person up until the PS4. Like I always had the Sony and the Xbox of that generation. Part of it was Xbox became really difficult to keep up with all the damn console names. I was like, what's next? Like, what's coming out? And then the PS4 was just such a good console. But anyways, so this Oblivion game today, I played it for about an hour so far. What's weird about it is it had a soft launch. Like I've been following this YouTuber named Mr. Matty Plays, and he's been talking about an Oblivion remake for I think maybe even over a year. And it all started with a Reddit thread where somebody said something about an Oblivion remake in the works. And then I think Bethesda, like, I don't know if it got leaked or something came out with Bethesda's release timeline of anticipated games, and Oblivion remake was on there. But that's it. Nothing was said by the company. Nothing was said by anybody. And so this YouTuber, Mr. Matty Plays, has been following it, and he's been catching a lot of heat for it because everyone's like, there's no proof of it. Like, it's not coming out. And then, dude, like literally a couple of days ago, they're like, yeah, it's coming out. Or like a week ago, they're like, yeah, it's coming out all of a sudden. And then boom, today it drops. And it's like, if you scroll through TikTok lives, if you go to Twitch, everybody is playing this game. So the fact that they didn't market it, and it's already, and it's only $50. It's only $50, dude. And when you, which is crazy considering the Nintendo Switch 2 crap and all the other stuff that we're going to go through with gaming. The fact that this game looks as good as it does, and it like immediately immerses you into it because it looks so good. And then the modding that's going to go on top of that. I might catch some heat from this, but I'm going to say that the last hour that I just played of Oblivion looks better than any amount of mods you could put on Skyrim. And I'm serious when I say that. If you take,
man, I don't know.
If you
have
take
you
some
seen,
of the,
like, have you seen
some of the realism mods?
Have you seen some of the textured mods and stuff like that they put on Skyrim, like when they layer them and things like that? Like,
I would say it looks better than 99% of mods on Skyrim, because what you're talking about, I have seen some examples, but you got to have a freaking like jet engine to run that. Like, you know what I mean?
But you're the only one still rocking a 1080 Ti though.
Hey, 2080. Yeah, you're right. And that's the thing, dude. I was playing on medium graphics settings, and I was like, holy crap, this looks good. And it's I don't even know what ultra quality looks like because I didn't test it yet. Anyways, maybe I'm a little bit too excited because I just got off of it, and I was really, really enjoying it, but it just looks so good. I'm gonna check it out
because we just talked about it. It's on Game Pass, right? And so so I'm gonna check it out. And I'm telling you, man, I say it pretty much every podcast. Like, Game Pass is the wave, man.
Well,
like.
Well, let's talk about that, because like you just booted it up on Mac like it was nothing because you were playing cloud, but it was 1080p, right?
Right.
So I downloaded it, and it's 120 gigabytes. So you got me beat there, no doubt about it. However, I don't have to pay a subscription now. It's a one-time purchase, and that's what killed me with Game Pass. Is I had Game Pass because you talked me into it, and I played Starfield and and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Put several hundred hours into both. And then I got just into a kind of a bind financially where I couldn't keep going. And then it was like, it's gone. Like, you don't get any of that memory anymore. And if I resubscribed, I could probably get it back. But I bet you if you
resubscribe, everything would be there.
So that was painful for me.
But for me, that's perfect though. That's the interesting thing about Game Pass. And I don't want to pivot to Game Pass or be pro Game Pass every single time. But that freedom is what allows me and the kids to play whatever we want, whenever we want. and I don't have to buy those individual games like you're saying. I mean, there's 7 people in this house, you know what I mean? So
that's a big difference. When it's just me, I can't justify because I just don't get to play enough. You know, it's like paying for a streaming service that I never watch. The only monthly streaming service I will not budge on is YouTube Premium. That is the one thing.
I've never had it.
See, really, you just do ad.
I've never had YouTube Premium, and I don't. And it's just nuts. Like I have a Hulu Premium, right? So there's no ads, and there's still ads in some of the Hulu stuff that I have with Hulu.
Right.
No ads. So I've just never done it for YouTube. And I watch the 5 seconds that I have to watch until I can push skip.
See, that's insane to me. I can't do it. Yeah, that's the one thing that I'll do ad free. And if you pay for it, you get 5 different accounts that have ad free. So all 3 of my YouTube accounts, my wife's account, and my kid's child account are all.
What is it? $14.99 a month?
Something like that.
Is it included in YouTube TV? Like, do you have YouTube TV as well?
No.
Okay.
It's not.
It's separate.
It's not.
Okay.
Yeah, that's like a dedicated TV service. But
I've used that in the past, and that's really good.
Well, it's nice because you can download transcripts and videos, download 4K videos, so you can watch them offline. So, like when we go somewhere with the kiddo on the iPad, you know, that's those are some of the features that you get, and you get access to it's kind of like the Amazon like Prime was back in the day, where you get access to Music Music and all this different stuff just for one price.
Prime is a very underrated. I think now that we got there, before we move on, I want to go back to the top 10 list because IGN has a different one. But Prime, I think, is one of the most underrated subscriptions that you can have. There's so many things that come with it beyond just
it's not as
2-day
good as
shipping.
It was, though. They found studies within the last year that show that Prime products that you purchase are more expensive than products that you purchase with shipping.
Oh, for sure.
I think they fixed that because they were getting their hands slapped hard. That's like a class action lawsuit in the making. And so I haven't heard any more on that, but I know that it's not as good as it once was, but it's still really, really good.
Yeah, well, I'm referring to the TV and the movies and all stuff. Yeah. A lot of people don't watch the movies and the shows or listen to the music, but I do. It's actually one of my favorite.
Here's one thing interesting about Prime. If I watch it directly on the Prime app, I started watching Reacher recently. Which we need more testosterone fueled TV on TV or shows on TV because that is such a dude show, and so I've really been enjoying it. And if you watch it on the Prime app, there's tons of ads. There's an ad to start it. There's ads throughout it. If I go onto my Apple TV box and watch it through Apple TV through Prime, no ads. You watch one 5-second ad when you start, and then no ads the rest of the show. Don't know why.
That's
it just works like that.
That's probably something that Apple has worked out for the experience to sell that to people to buy.
I'm here for it. For it.
I don't even have an Apple TV, but I should get one for my Hisense TV that won't stream in 4K. But
I was using the NVIDIA Shield for years, and I love the NVIDIA Shield, but that Apple ecosystem, because what's nice is if I want to watch my show at night and the family's gone to bed, if I open my AirPods on my TV, it pops up. Do you want to connect to your Apple AirPods? You just press solid. It and then throw your AirPods in. And if I'm where's the damn remote? You can either use Find My for your Apple TV remote, or just use your remote on your phone.
On your phone, that's solid. That's one of those things where it's you'll buy it at some point, so you just haven't bought it yet. I just need to buy one. Is there a new one? Was there a new? Wasn't there one released last year or no?
Yeah, it's within I think it's 2 years old. It's
okay. I'm gonna wait for the next. I'm gonna wait for the next one. I'll get the next one.
All right.
Before we move on, top 10 games.
All right.
Because I did see something where it said Minecraft had sold over 300 million. That last one said 240 million, so it didn't feel like it was up to date. But IGN's article, as of February 18th this year, this is the top 10 selling games, and it's interesting because it hasn't changed that much. Tetris at 520 million is number one. And that is the original release date Tetris of June 6, 1984.
Oh, wow.
Minecraft is number 2 at 300 million, May 17th, 2009 release date.
I know what the difference in those lists is already. It's IP versus actual game, right? So the IP of Tetris has sold that many games instead of just that one 2006 version from EA.
Yeah, because it says it doesn't say. It doesn't publisher. It doesn't. It says plus others for publishers. So probably number 3 is Grand Theft Auto at 200+ million. Wii Sports is still number 4. PUBG is still number 5. Mario Kart 6. Red Dead Redemption number 7. Skyrim is actually number 8 at 60 million. So that's a big difference.
Interesting.
Yeah, because that was number 17 on the other list.
Wow.
So Skyrim's number 8, and it's double because the other one was 30 million. So that's 60 million.
Then I wonder what the dates in those articles is. That's so weird.
Yeah, in a game Terraria, never heard of that. It's 58.7 million. You know that?
I know it's Terraria. I never got into it, but I own it.
Platform.
Yeah, it's a cool game.
And number 10 is Witcher 3.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Witcher 3 is my second favorite game.
I bet it. See, I never could get into The Witcher 3. I want to.
Oh, you never got into Witcher 3, but come on, man. Explain it to me. Explain it to me.
I don't know what it is.
Oh my god.
I don't know what it is. Why I can't get into it. Because I think the fighting is really cool. I think every time I've tried, I've been at a point in my life where I don't have the patience to sit down and immerse myself. And I think that's the problem. Because like when you look at that game from the outside in, it's like, man, look at the action and the fighting style. And then you get into it and there is that, but like there's a lot of in between. And
there's so much lore and story though, bro. Go play it now on your OLED. Yeah. You didn't play it on the OLED before.
Well, let me get a 5 series graphics card first.
I mean, you probably won't need it because the game came out when the 2080 was the thing.
Yeah,
maybe even before that. And the thing is, like,
I'm due.
There's a scene where you see the Griffin for the first time, and on an OLED screen, there's like where you go to the nest and all of that good stuff. And then right after that, you go into the first city, so to speak, or you go back to that city, so to speak. And there's like a bridge you go over where the sunlight is shining and the grass is kind of moving. It looks good. Not only does it look good, but like the soundtrack at that point is like, or it's one of the points where, you know, the soundtrack is going and there's like a storyline and all this different stuff. When I did my first review on my OLED, that was the scene I showed. And it was because of that, like the sunlight. It's like the dynamic range in that scene is just freaking sweet. Go play it now that you got an OLED. It's different on the OLED, I promise you.
So I'll do that. I'll definitely do that. And I need another controller-based game. That's a game I would play with controller. Is that your, like, if you had to identify one gaming scenario where the music hits right at the right time based on what you're doing in the game and it sticks with you? Because I've got one that I remember, but is that yours?
No, I mean, that's one of them. The one that stuck with me the most is actually Assassin's Creed Black Flag 4. At the end of the game. You played it?
Oh, of course.
And I'm sure a lot of people saw it. It's not a spoiler at this point. The game been out 15 years or something like that. But the very last scene when he's sitting there talking to her at the when they're playing what is the name of that song? It's an old Irish song when you the where you depart. You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and they show everybody that passed away during the game, and then it's like he walks to the boat. And his daughter comes down, like that moment, bro. That music she's singing. Oh my god, bro! That part of the game. I
forgot about that.
It was such a long journey in that game, and then when you get to that scene, it was like, oh man, that dang.
If that game would be perfect in my mind, literally, probably potentially the best game ever made, if it didn't have Abstergo in it. That Abstergo Assassin's Creed storyline that they refuse to give up on. Assassin's Creed could have just been. You have this story of this assassin, and it had. If you took out all of the Abstergo stuff, every single game would improve like crazy. And that being pulled out of that immersive environment every single time, it makes me set my controller down and I can't finish it.
It does break the immersion because you do get like it does for sure.
Right, and so
the Parting Glass is the name of that song. It's called The Parting Glass.
Okay, well, I will
love that song.
I can't remember, but I will go watch the ending scene. For me, you ever play Far Cry 3?
No, 4 was the first one I played.
Oh, Far Cry 3 was so good. It was my entrance into the series. It's still a phenomenal game that holds up really well. But there's this one scene where I don't know why you're doing what you're doing, but you have like this like metal suit on with a flamethrower, and you're walking into these weed fields on like these marijuana fields on this island. And you have to burn them down. And there's this Jamaican song that was remixed with Skrillex called "Make It Burn Them," and it's like this Skrillex song as you're just burning all these crops. Dude, that's something about that. Like a lot of people that are listening to this that played Far Cry 3 will know exactly what I'm talking about, and it's just such an iconic moment in gaming. I want to jump back really quick to the price of Oblivion and how happy I am that it's only $50.
Before you do that. In the comment section, everybody, put in the comment section what your moment is in gaming. Like, what what was the scene, what was the music, what made you remember that? Like, just put that in there, and then we'll read through that potentially in the next video.
I would love to hear what other people's are. If anyone knows ours also. So jumping back. So do you know the history of DLC in gaming?
I mean, no, other than the fact that it's always been there, but
it's credited with starting with Oblivion. That's what's so funny about this. The first DLC in gaming was horse armor in Oblivion. You could buy horse armor for your horse in Oblivion, and then all these companies were like, wait, we can make money after the initial sale, and then boom, DLC.
All right.
So like it catches a lot of crap for that. And it's funny because when you buy this, you get $50 for the base game, $60 for the deluxe edition.
Horse armor?
It's $60 for the deluxe edition, and it includes horse armor. It's such a funny thing that they did. Surely that was on purpose.
That was on purpose for sure. That was on purpose.
Yeah,
but I wonder on Game Pass if you have to pay like an extra like $10 or something to get the horse armor.
Probably, but it's just a funny thing. But anyways, but $50 for that game and how well done it is. The reason I'm so happy that they did that is because if you look at like the Nintendo Switch 2, there's a lot of cool things about the Switch 2. I've got some thoughts on the console itself, but the games really piss me off because they are now opening the door to other companies charging $80 to $90 a game. But for their, like, if you want to play Breath of the Wild on the Switch 2, you have to pay $70 to play that same game, but upscaled to the Switch 2's output graphics and things like that. But it's the exact same game, and you're paying for the entire another game. And
is that is that the same as if you like if you already own it on Switch? Do you have to upgrade it to play on the Switch too?
Yes.
So you have to upgrade your own games to play on the next.
I'm pretty sure that is what has been going on and why people are so pissed off. And then it's $80 for the digital copies of games, $90 for the physical copies. And the physical copies don't actually contain the game; they contain a download code that you download from the store. So there is no
physical copy anymore. Then basically,
right now, from my understanding, I was watching the Waveform podcast, and they were talking about how you can still give somebody that cartridge, and they can download it too. So you can still sell the cartridge. I'm not for sure.
But when you do that, you no longer own it once somebody uploads it. Like it's like it changes.
Because it's not here yet, I'm not sure. Because
I bet you that's what it is.
I bet it is too. Like you lose access to it because then people would just be like black marketing all these games, and Nintendo wants to fight that. So it's like I'm sure only one console at a time. So I don't know how they're going to do that. But this whole game thing from Nintendo is so frustrating because so many companies that like they're just going to start charging out the wazoo for these games, and none of them are finished because like companies don't finish games anymore.
Agreed.
And it's just a real bummer. So anyways,
at least I'm not about 75%, 70% complete.
Right. So props to the Oblivion Remake team for $50 for that thing. I guarantee it's going to blow records out of the water for this. Like,
let me ask you this before we move on from that.
All right.
What is your opinion on remakes? When is a remake viable? How long, since the original release, like different thoughts like that versus price, like money grab. When does it actually make sense versus a money grab?
It's not based on timing because I think obviously not next console generation, like that makes sense, right? That happened a lot. You saw that with was it Sekiro? Oh my gosh, is that what it is? Sekiro.
No, it was Sekiro was the first one that came out, but it was the one right after that.
Not Sekiro. It was the Ghost of Tsushima. They had the PS5 upgrade, and that was free. Like if you bought it on PS4. And you put it in the PS5, you could upgrade to the PS5 version.
If you had the hard disc version,
the disc
not
version.
the digital one you had to pay for.
Yes,
yeah,
right.
which is
but if you had the physical
classic
disc.
PS5, because I mean, if I own it digitally, why can't I just download the damn the upgrade?
Honestly, Sony's not the bad guy anymore. Nintendo's taking that spot real quick.
Man,
so
Sony's still the bad guy.
They both are. Well, that's the thing because Microsoft is starting to pull back from the gaming market so much because they're focusing on the Game Pass and the handheld genre, and we may not see another true Xbox console. Maybe there's one more.
I think it's going to be high. I think from this point forward, they'll be hybrid.
Well, also, we're going to see Game Pass on the Switch at some point. I guarantee it. Well, and that's the thing. So now you have a monopoly because while they're both gaming console related companies, Nintendo and Sony don't compete. They really don't because they're two totally different types.
Markets,
Sony's painted into a corner right now. They have their PlayStation Portal, which is only usable on network, and
I mean, they don't have anything and that's what I'm saying. Like, Sony's been re-releasing a lot of games just to have something out there. You know what I mean? And it's that's been the interesting. I mean, that's the interesting thing to me. And that's why I'm asking that question. Like, at what point is it just like, come on, Sony, knock it off?
Console upgrade for sure. Outside of that, there has to be a widely accessible ability to get a better quality graphics of that game, right? And if they fix major gameplay issues, I think a good example of that is like a lot of people sleep on the first Witcher game. I tried to play it, but it's so janky, right? They could increase the graphics. I mean, literally a year after that one launched, they could have redone the game so that it's easier to play from a fighting perspective, because that's what threw a lot of people off. It was hard because the controls sucked, not because it was difficult. And then you could make the graphics better. So like, it doesn't matter time frame if you're making the game better. Now, if it's just like a graphics overhaul that a mod could do, I don't know, man. Like, what do you think? What do you think? Well, answer your question. You answer your question.
That's where I'm thinking. Like, it's improvements to the gameplay. Like, say for instance, like the leveling up system is bad, right? But that was one thing that really threw people off, or it was hard to do, or something like that. And you come up with a new leveling up system, along with a graphical increase. You know, along with any other bug fixes that, people complained about and different things like that, like those type of things. I don't like it when it's like, it's been out, we don't have anything, so we just released it. It was 1440p, now we released it in 4K, but nothing changed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the 4K is not even a real 4K
it's 1440,
redesign is just, you know what I'm saying? Like those type of things. But I agree with you. Like, next gen from one generation to the next one, like that happened with Skyrim, that happened with a lot of different places. Dude, and it makes sense. But
Skyrim came out on the 360 and the PS3.
It's been on everything.
That's wild, dude.
PS4, then PC, and then after that the updated versions with the mods. And
so from what I can see with Oblivion so far, it uses the same inventory system as the original Oblivion, and it is a little janky. I don't. Like, I'm not a fan of that. I think it's just because I'm so used to Skyrim, and I think Skyrim did it great. I think they have a very simple inventory system, simple access system, and it could still be better. I've played with mods on Skyrim that had way better inventory systems. The one on Oblivion is still pretty janky. So for this one, it is a true graphics overhaul. Like really high quality textures and resolutions and things like that from what I can see so far. But again, I don't have enough time in the original game to say, yeah, here's what's different, here's what wasn't. I just remember specifically like the inventory sucked in the first one. It's the exact same in this one. So I don't know, maybe when I get further into the game and I hear some other people review it, I'll learn more about it. But as of right now, it's one of the few games that have come out in the last few years that's worth it right now, full price. Don't wait for it to go on sale.
Yeah, see, well, I mean, I'm picking up on Game Pass, so I'm just going to download it. Just going to download it.
And when Microsoft turns off their Game Pass servers, no game for you.
Hey, well, I mean, at that point, I think there's a little bit more to deal with. They turn off. If Microsoft turns off their game servers, we're dealing with something else. So
right. For sure. So, okay. So we have a lot of other stuff to talk about as well. Yeah. So that was the gaming side of things. I know we also just got back from NAB a couple of weeks ago, the National Association for Broadcasting. Man, what a treat that was. That was
amazing.
We went to CES in January, which we talked about in the last episode of this. And it was great. Overwhelming. Too damn much, really. CES is a lot. And we only went to 2 out of the 8-9 locations. NAB was great because it was like a 10th the size of CES. So
it was.
The discussions,
well, I guess a fourth, right? Because it was 160,000, right? At CES, 40,000 roughly.
So head count, it was a fourth from physical.
Locations and size.
It was half the convention center, where CES was all the convention center and 6 hotels.
And other locations.
And so, but man, it was so much more intimate. People, like the brands, had time to talk with you and you get to learn about their equipment, except for Canon. They didn't want anything to do with us. Like, you know what? Let's talk about that. Because like whenever, so
Before we get going, if you're unfamiliar with CES is a consumer electronics show. It's the largest electronic show in the U.S. and it's basically every brand that you can think of and it's not just gaming, it's everything. It's gaming, it's entertainment, television, cars, auto manufacturing, audio, like everything within the electronic spectrum. And that is a very large spectrum. And that's what we're talking about. The breadth of it is overwhelming. And no matter how large people have told you it is, it's larger when you get there. And so,
no doubt.
Again, like I said, 9 locations or so across Las Vegas to see this thing.
Yeah.
And then NAB is the National Association of Broadcasters. And that is like broadcast television and the products that are used to either create and or work within that industry. So it's like an industry thing versus a consumer focused thing, where CES is for all consumers and everything that you can get as a consumer. The broadcasting is more or less for the folks that create the things that you consume on a day-to-day basis, whether it's YouTube, video, TV.
To that point, there were a lot of vendors that we talked to at NAB that were also at CES, but their booths were more elaborate at NAB.
Yeah.
Where was I going with that? What was I talking about?
Well, we're talking about, there's a lot we can talk about, but we talked about Canon.
Okay, so let's start there. So we went as media, and when you have a certain size following, you get to go, like you don't have to pay to go. And NAB is expensive to attend as a regular person. So to be able to go as media,
$2,000 to get the access that we had.
Yeah, $2,000, and we get media tags, and like you have a different tag than everyone else. I don't have mine next to me, but
mine is not next to me. They're upstairs.
But whenever these companies see that on your badge, they want to talk to you because they want to be featured in your content, right? So you get a nice, not a red carpet experience, but they are definitely engaged and excited. Yeah, some of them is really nice.
You get to cut the line a little bit. You know?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And we'll there's definitely some line cutting that happened at an after party that we got to do. That was pretty cool. We'll talk about that. But so a lot of these brands, they reach out to you and they say, hey, we see that you're signed up as media. You have a YouTube following, like come by our booth and let's schedule a time to chat. So we had, CES, we never had any scheduled meetings. We didn't really know we could do that. But at NAB, we had at least 7 scheduled meetings or scheduled time slots to be at booths. So when we go to Canon, it was like, out of all the brands that we met with, every brand was so warm and welcoming and excited to show us their products. And Canon was like, who are y'all? Why are you here?
The other guys.
The guy we were supposed to meet with, like, all of a sudden wasn't available. And the lady
was definitely there.
The lady, she was so hospitable. She was amazing. The first girl, she was really nice. And she's like, so what were y'all hoping to get out of this? And I was like, I don't know. You reached out to us. Like, what do you want us to get out of this? And then they stuck us with this dude who just talked down to us the whole time. And like,
I don't think he did, but I got a different opinion, but go ahead.
Well, the reason I feel that way is because he kept trying to show what it was the M50Z or
it was a PowerShot V and then the M50 V.
The 2 starting point cameras into the creator space, right? Like when I was starting out, I'm a Canon guy. I started with Canon. These are the cameras that I would have purchased.
Now he understands where he went wrong.
Yeah. Hold on. We'll talk about that in a little bit. 2020 was a different year, but back when I started. So, but anyways, he kept showing us these cameras where it's like, we want to take a look at how do we upgrade from here? What's next for us as creators? And he kept wanting to show the beginner level stuff. And I'm like, dude, like we want to take a look at this other stuff. And he just kept trying to oversell this. And it was like, it was just, I don't know, man.
Nobody want
that interaction alone. And this guy, just so you as the audience knows, he's been in my ear about switching to Sony for months now. He just won't drop it. And so after him planting that seed and watering it for months at a time, then we go to NAB and have a crappy interaction with Canon, and they just are like, why are you even here?
Those second-tier brands, man. They just...
Well, and it's interesting because I went with Canon because I started following Think Media and Peter McKinnon whenever I first started my YouTube journey, right? Then the M50 was the dominant beginner YouTube video camera.
It was.
So then you enter the ecosystem and it's really hard to change. But now I'm pretty far into the Canon ecosystem. I've got 2 R8s. I got an EOS R. I still have that M50. I got a bunch of glass for it or lenses. But I'm considering switching the entire thing now.
He's switching.
Yeah.
So my thing with the experience at Canon, to Corey's point, we showed up and the first lady was amazing. She came out to us, and this is how I knew some BS was happening because Corey and I both have worked in operations or around operations. We've managed events and things like that, and we know
that's why we talk real good.
Yeah, there's been times where we've had to switch, pivot because something has happened behind the scenes or someone's time is no longer available, and so you sent out, hey, keep them busy while we do this, and that's exactly what she was doing. Like, she was very uncomfortable, but to her credit, she made her uncomfortable comfortable. Like, she was very sweet. She asked us if we wanted something to drink. She walked us around the booth, and like, she took us over to an area, was like, let me check and see what's going on. And then, so the guy we ended up speaking to was a specialist, a tech specialist, basically someone that is a product specialist, and he knew those products. And the thing was, he had a spiel. And if you've ever been at these trade shows and you ever had to do a trade show, you have a spiel. They give you talking points and different things like that. Mm-hmm. And the majority of the people that are talking to the folks are using those talking points. If you ask them to go off track and ask them something outside those talking points, they may not be prepared to speak to you, and they may not know how to answer that question, or they've been told not to address certain things.
It was how he didn't address things.
It was
that
he purposely, like, with the R50V, which is their new camera. It's the new detachable lens camera. There's a pretty big crop, and there's some other things and it's $650 plus lens and stuff like that. So it puts it right around that ZV-E10 Mark II, around the Fuji X5M, like around those different areas, same price points, etc. And there's some crops, and we would ask him questions. Okay, what are your thoughts on the crop versus your competitors? And he wouldn't even not address it. He just completely ignored the question and just went on to the next thing. And he would talk to us about things that we as creators know. Like you usually when you speak to someone, you say, okay, what's your base knowledge? And then you go from there. But he treated us like we were basically moving from a cell phone. Like, we had no idea like what we were talking about. And Corey just told you everything he owns, and I own, A7S3, FX30, A7C2, and then a Fuji X-T3. And like, so we own cameras where, bro, we get what you're saying. Like, you don't have to, baby talk us. And so that experience, and to his, like, I did, like, at the end, he took us to the new M20 or 20 millimeter 1.2 lens that they're coming out with, and some other stuff. He let us touch the C80 with a brand new telephoto super focus, super zoom lens on it. So, I mean, it got better. I think once he started realizing that we were knowledgeable, I just don't think that he was the person that was supposed to be speaking to us. Mm-hmm. He was supposed to be speaking to the average person that shows up and just wants to know about this camera, and then maybe purchase it at the counter she took us to.
Right.
Because we definitely should have been out in the middle of the floor, walking section to section, and discussing the new things. And so I don't want to blame him for that. I just think that he was not prepared and and we were not the persons that he was supposed to be speaking to.
I'm gonna blame him for it.
But the experience based on what we were expecting was bad. I think that, in contrast to what we got, is what created the bad experience.
And I'm gonna blame him for it. I am. So, and I think what really puts it into contrast is because the way that these booths are set up at NAB, especially the camera booth. So it was really cool because every camera company had a scene with paid actors or a live band, and they had their full camera lineup where you could go up and play with the lenses and zoom in and out of people and like just really test out the cameras on live actual scenes. Canon's was by far the worst. It was just a stage where they either had like a blues band playing or these orchestra like chicks playing in dresses. And then you go over to like Blackmagic, and they have like it's Blackmagic, Sony, Panasonic. Yeah. Panasonic had like a newsroom kind of setup.
Yeah, that was sweet.
And then like Blackmagic's booth was I tell you what, Blackmagic, they had this full scene with paid actors, or it was like this outdoor coffee shop with like this motorcycle shop off to the side with like legitimate looking actors that you could play with their cameras with and stuff. And so it was just like once you we left the Canon booth feeling like get out of here. I don't know why that thing zoomed in on me. How do I get it to zoom away?
It's the L. Then put the L up and then move it away from your face.
There we go. See, L, loser for Canon. So anyways,
coming from the guy with about 10 grand worth of Canon.
Now we're gonna talk about like if you're newer to your content career, or well into it. We're gonna talk about. Oh God, this dude I still wouldn't get relentless. The R8's a great camera.
The R8 is different. But the R8 is different. Like, the R8 to me is not a beginner camera. I think it's a camera that a beginner can get
right?
So that they don't outgrow it. The R8 is a phenomenal camera. I mean, that's your main camera, and that looks amazing.
And it served me well. Love it. I absolutely love it. So, but I will be switching
recently. Yeah,
I will be switching to. Here's the thing: I'm either going whole hog into Blackmagic or I'm going to go into Sony, and I don't know which yet.
He's gonna do both.
Well, that Pixis 12K that's coming out in July is such. I don't need that. I don't need that at all. Right?
We definitely need it.
but
so we'll get to that in a minute.
I want it really bad.
Yeah,
so
we'll get to what Blackmagic cameras have. So let me ask you this: favorite booth from NAB?
Like I said, I was a fan of Blackmagic just because of the scene they had set up and how cool looking it was, and just their full product lineup was on display. You could see their cloud system, their ATEM series, their switchers. I mean, they had everything available for testing. So that was a really cool booth. There's one I'm not thinking of. Who am I not thinking of that we saw that was really cool? Tell me yours and maybe it'll jog my memory.
So my favorite booth, it's boring because it was Blackmagic too. Like Blackmagic's booth was like when you walked out onto the floor, they were off to the right and they were massive. You could see everything. Like to your point, they had every camera, and it's not just like their consumer grade cameras. They had their Ursa 17 and the Ursa, 3D, and
their brand new
releases. They had the older releases. They had the 4K. They had like the 6K, the 6K Pro, the Cinema 6K that came out last year. They had the 6K Pixis. They had the 12K Pixis on display. Yeah. They had the Ursa. Like they just had everything, and then they had, like you said, just everything. They had everything. Well, so, I mean, that was the favorite. My favorite booth though was Nomadic. Like hanging out with Kyle and James.
Yeah.
That experience, it was a very small booth. And Nomadic is known within this gear space for their bags and their luggage, and
they really blew up. They blew up because of that Peter McKinnon collaboration they did with that backpack, which I bought and reviewed like 5 years ago. I will agree with that. And what's interesting is when we were at the Nomadic booth, the booth right across from it was like twice the size, lights everywhere. It was another camera bag company with all kinds of options. But outside of their little giveaways that they had with the spin the wheel thing, everyone that knew anything about gear was at the Nomadic booth. And not only because of how personable the Nomadic crew is, because like these dudes are just cool dudes. Yeah. Their gear is just so good. I mean,
sweet. I got my got my new bag.
I don't even have
here's my new Peter McKinnon sling here with all of my.
Is that the Peter McKinnon series?
Yeah, it's the Peter McKinnon.
Oh, it sure is.
Sling, yeah, got the.
I don't have any of my stuff nearby.
Skull crossbones in the back, and this is my daily driver unit with my A7 C2 and a 24mm 1.2 and Sony 24 or 70-200 f.4. Got my mics in there. Got my new Falcam F38. Man, I'm living the dream over here with this new setup with this quick release, and that's not a product placement or anything like that. I freaking love that. Did he feel? Oh, he fell asleep. I love the bag. The bag is freaking sweet. I'm gonna do a video on it. Make no mistakes about it. So plug my channel there, Cozy Tech Reviews. But
Nomadic had an excellent booth. I'll agree with you.
They James and Kyle were freaking dope.
One of my
coolest people I've ever met.
Favorite booth that we visited was actually the Falcam booth, because every single product at that Falcam booth I wanted, and that was the only booth that had that. Like there were a lot of booths where I was like, oh, that was pretty cool, but I don't really need this. But that Falcam booth, they had a tripod. Like I'm 6'10", and it was like looking me in the eye of that camera. Yeah. They had that, their switch system, like their quick release mounts. They had their motorized light fixtures that moved. Everything there was awesome, and then the crew was really cool too. Like,
and not only that, though, like not to cut you off, but it's not just that it's awesome. The quality, the quality is solid, and like the innovation of some of those things. Go ahead, jump into some of that, please. Talk about some of the innovation there.
Yeah, so Falcam, I first saw their gear when Caleb from DSLR Video Shooter covered their ecosystem, and I was trying to find a quick release system, and the only reason I didn't go with Falcam was because it was pricey at the time for my budget. Yeah. And Newer I was going to go Arca Swiss, and now I regret what I did, because I'll show you really quick. So this is my Osmo Pocket 3. This is a quick release mount, but it's square. It's not Arca Swiss. So you can only use it with this specific newer quick release mount, and that's what I invested in.
I got one of those somewhere,
and I kind of regret doing that. The thing about Falcam that I think that does them a disservice is their products don't look as good a quality as they actually are. So when you see them on screen, doesn't matter how good the videography is, you don't realize how solid that steel is. I mean, it is like, you ain't breaking that stuff, dude. Like I have some small rig, little like oh my gosh, what do you call those little arms? Those little articulating arms? Yeah.
The magic arms.
Yes, so I've got some small rig versions of those, and until I picked up the Falcam ones, I did not realize how much better quality the Falcam materials are. I mean, that stuff is sturdy. And then that all their tripods, and the one that I really want that's really tall was they're carbon fiber and just extremely good quality. I mean, everything was just like, they went to the nines for it, and I realized, oh, it's adequately priced, if anything underpriced compared to the quality that you're getting.
Agreed. I mean, you throw a Manfrotto name on that and you times it by 4.
1,000%.
Right, for some of that stuff, right? And
1,000%.
Not only that, they have that universal mount at the top, right? One of those, you can buy the universal mount that allows you to use all of your different plates and quick release plates.
And let me see if I've got, here it is. So this right here is a Falcam like
38
like strap, and here's the little release system for it, and you can see the difference in size, and you would think that the newer one is that much more sturdy because of how big it is. This thing is at least 4 times stronger than that newer one. I mean, this is just solid metal. And so that booth to me was my favorite because I wanted everything there. But I want to see if we have the same idea on what the goofiest booth was. Like the one where you're like, this is a little over the top. Like, I want to see if we have the same feeling.
Over the top in what regard? Like personality or like stuff?
Well, not the people, but like the presentation, where it was like, ooh, this is a little cheesy. Because I don't want to give too much away, because I think you're going to know who I'm talking about. But like, I want to know if you identified a booth where like when you're experiencing the booth, you were like, this is a little like awkward.
Like lame, or like
not lame, but it was I don't know how to describe it. I'm having trouble describing what I mean, but it was just kind of awkward. Did you get that feeling from any booth?
Not really, because you know how I am. I'm always optimistic.
Okay, you're very optimistic, and like, dude, for y'all that don't know, we are yin and yang. He is Cozy is so positive about everything. I'm so negative about everything. Like
we meet in the middle.
We balance each other out.
We pull each other towards the middle.
And so anyways, so that's why you handle the Canon meeting so much better than I did. But and I'm the Canon user. That's why I was so disappointed. But no, okay, so let's do this. It was a booth that we saw a presentation at. That it was like, this is a little
the dancers.
Yeah. Who was it?
I was like,
Small rig, man. So okay, let's set
it was so awkward. It was like the small rig dancers, and everybody was kind of like, it was like,
so I wish
they could dance, but it was just the wrong. It was like not the dude. The dude was weird, but
we need to start putting more effort in this podcast by showing what we're talking about. But I'll set the scene really quick, because the small rig booth was actually really nice, and it was nice. Like centralized in the hall. It looked good, but they had this tiny little stage, and they had these professional dancers, and it was this one dude, kind of looked like Cozy actually. This one dude.
See, that's racist. Go ahead.
What? Because I was talking about the hair. He had similar hair. But so this one dude and these 2 chicks that were like professional dancers hired to hype the crowd up before the presentation. And here's the thing about a
Save the Last Dance.
Yeah. It was like, you could hear the thumping on the stage, and the music wasn't very loud. And they're like, come on, let's get up, let's go. And it's all these just super camera nerds with no personality in the audience. Just like, nobody's moving. No one's excited. And it's like, and they had to do that, I think, like 3 to 4 times a day, every day.
Between every big presentation, they would bring out the small rig dancers, bro. And like, people would just leave. Like, it was awkward, because like, they'd be looking at you like, come on, let's go. And you'd be like,
it was awkward. It was uncomfortable, to say the least. But I mean,
I didn't think of that till you said it, bro. Like that was weird.
I'll give those dancers credit. They danced.
They did their job. They performed. They danced their butt off. Yeah,
in a better setting.
But it was like step up 6 type dancing though.
Well, they didn't have room. They didn't have room
after Channing Tatum and them. It was like the 5th generation. Like you might have one of them come back.
Have you total deviation here? Have you gone back and watched the dance scene from Save the Last Dance with Julia Stiles?
Bruh, I just watched that. That's what I was saying.
Wait, you just watched that movie the other day?
Yeah, yes. Yeah, my wife loves that movie.
It has not aged well.
Bruh, it didn't age good at all. It's like she didn't eat. She didn't eat at all. Like,
and when I was young,
like even his. But
the thing is, when I was young watching that movie, I remember thinking, "Oh hell yeah, they're getting it." And then you get older, and you're like, "God, this is so bad." Go watch Save the Last Dance.
Oh my God!
Any scene where they're dancing,
but it's really bad. Like her Juilliard audition at the end, like,
and they're blown away. They're like, "Wow!"
Right.
You immediately get in.
I was watching it like, I don't remember that.
That's so funny that you just recently watched it.
Yeah, literally,
that's what the small rig dancers were
within
like.
the 2 months. Like within 2 months, like literally just watched it.
Right,
like,
man, that's hilarious.
That brought tears in my eyes. The small rig was wild for that. They were tripping. But they were wild for that. But that was awkward. I forgot all about that. And then you would see the dancers like leave because they were like going to get food or something, so you didn't want to make eye contact. Like you want to.
I felt for him, dude. I felt for him. It was
weird. There was another booth where the young lady was like on the camera and like they had the camera stuff set up in front of her. What booth was it? She had like gold paint or something. Like every time you walked past, you were like, that girl's still performing.
No, she was in a silver dance suit. That was that was Obsbot. The camera that I'm looking at right now, that was the Obsbot booth.
It was the Obsbot booth. That's right.
And the thing is, normally, just so you know, they have these actors that'll like switch out because you can only sit there for 6 hours straight before you got
high energy and smiling and all that stuff.
And this girl, they didn't have the budget for another actress. She was in this silver alien bodysuit that was hot and soupy in there, right? Like I'm sure she was sweating her ass off, and like imagine Batman after a night of fighting crime, like where he's like he needs a shower, and
right.
So that's what she was wearing, and she had to just keep dancing and dancing and dancing for this green screen.
That's the thing, like there's nobody there, so like you just high energy with like 3 people.
yeah, I felt so bad for her, dude. What an experience though, because it was like it's weird to see how these companies market, and I think like someone from the Black Magic booth said something to me that has kind of stuck with me, and it put a lot of that into perspective. It like the type of audience that you're marketing to is changing rapidly because of new people getting into the game. Social media is changing like crazy. I mean, right now, I think YouTube, the platform, not YouTube TV, YouTube, the platform is now, I think, the most watched streaming service on TVs.
Period.
That's a big deal, right? It's not Netflix and all these other ones. And I watch my YouTube videos on TV all the time, and so
I hardly ever watch my phone.
So this Black Magic rep said, we don't really know how to reach some of the newer audience and creators. So you see all these companies trying these new methods and techniques, and they got some learning to do because like that may appeal to the younger generation. But for me, I was like,
man, my daughter would have found that cringy.
Really?
My daughter who dances would have been like, well, that ain't it, Dad.
And I was like, surely there's some neckbeard in here that's really enjoying this, and no one in the crowd.
Not one person was not one person. Like everybody was kind of just looking around, like. And the guy on stage when he introduced him, he was like, "The small rig dancers," and everybody was like, "What the hell are the small rig dancers? Y'all got dancers?" Like
he was a good MC. Like they had the crowd. He was actually a small rig rep too. So it was he wasn't paid. Like he
was solid. Yeah, he was. He got to be higher up in the company because like some of his energy was through the roof. Like
right. Well, and then like they had. I don't mean to keep bashing small rig, but they had like when they were doing their presentations, they had creators come up, and small rig does a really cool thing where they will partner with creators, design a specific use case of something like Potato Jet's Tribex tripod. That's through small rig. Caleb DSLR video shooter. He has a V-mount battery that's through them, and they partner with these creators so they have like creator branded products helped designed by them. And so they would bring these creators up to show their products that are up and coming and releasing. but their sound system was so bad. And it's like when you're at a place like NAB, they have like a karaoke machine back there with like one of those JBL like RGB like karaoke machines.
100.
Yeah. And everyone in the audience is like, what are they saying? Like,
you can hear it. Yeah. No. Yeah, you can hear it. Yeah, Chris from YMC Imaging released the RC100B, which and 100, I think it's 100R, which is their RGB version, and I want one of those. The booth was, I mean, the Manny at the booth at Small Rig was freaking awesome. He showed us the X99 battery. I did a video on that.
Yeah,
he was freaking awesome. So to Corey's point, like the booth was kind of sweet. Like all their products were there. You could see the tripods. You could see all of their, their gear, their cages and stuff like that. But yeah, that was just, it was like, what's going on here? Like,
I do want to give a special shout out because I know they're probably listening. We met a couple of friends there.
Oh yeah,
Kyle and Paul, you two dudes. You two guys made the experience. You want to tell that Mark Stone story?
Yeah, let's talk about that. So this is the biggest difference of CES and NAB that we found. CES is so massive, and the tech space gets creators that get into the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 million. Right, subscribers, and they're definitely on a different level, and you typically don't run into those type of people there anymore at CES because they don't necessarily have to go there because everybody's beating down their door to work with them, and people are kind of doing their own thing, and they don't really communicate with other creators. They might see you like they're Corey has a friend that we met there from Russ from Retro Gaming Tech, Retro
Game Core,
yeah, and like he was awesome. He took the time to speak with us, like go do this, go try this, go check this out. Every other creator that we saw there was kind of like turn the shoulder, keep moving, and some of them were even rude. And we talked about that before, like, hey, don't touch that, like, Brad, chill out before I beat you up. But NAB was completely different. It was like every creator you saw like automatically walked up to you and wanted to chat. Like they wanted to talk gear.
It's a community.
They wanted to talk shop. They wanted to like, what are you working on? What are you doing? But anyway, I was at NAB and we pick up our badges. We talked about the badges. Pick up the badge. I got my badge. Didn't pay any attention to it because you have to check in with the QR code and you have to show them your ID. So I didn't pay any attention to it. Got my badge, went in. We're walking around for about half a day, and I'm getting the badge scanned, all these different things, and
they scan your badge at these booths so they get your contact information, and they can reach out to you once you to like partner up if you want to review products and stuff. And it's important to know that. But go ahead.
So we're sitting at the Viltrox booth, and I'm stoked about Viltrox new 85 1.2 millimeter. 85 millimeter 1.2 f-stop lens, and Paul walks up, and Paul, I'll tag his channel below, go check him out, follow, subscribe, and he looks at me, and then he looks at my badge, and then he looks at my face again, and he looks back at the badge, and he kind of just stands there. So me and Corey keep talking, and he was like, excuse me, I don't want to interrupt, but I know that voice. Isn't your name Christopher? And I was like, yeah. And then I looked down at my badge, and it says freaking Mark Stone. So Mark Stone, and I've had this thing for half a day. Mark Stone is this animator for an editor for Warner Brothers. Brothers, right?
Yeah.
And apparently, me and Mark Stone look alike. He has a short cropped hair fade.
Okay, yeah. Here's the thing: we found a picture of Mark Stone, and obviously another black dude, and. I think it's fair to say the dancer from Small Rig looked more like you than Mark Stone did.
Facts.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, fair enough. So this lady at this NAB line took a look at you, looked at Mark Stone's picture, and was like, "Close enough."
And you take a picture. You give him a QR code, you give him your ID, and you take a picture. Like during that moment, and somehow I still ended up with Mark Stone. But anyway,
shout out to Mark Stone because he helped us make some new friends.
Shout out to Mark Stone and shout out to that lady's prejudice. But she's just tired. It was thousands of people coming. But anyway,
it was day one. It was the first hour of day one, so it was like,
yeah, it was.
You ain't that tired, lady. Like,
everybody getting their badge. Everybody's in a hurry. But I give her benefit of the doubt. But so Paul and Kyle, Paul Finbaum, and it's Finbaum, right? And Kyle Watts. And introduced us to 1,000 brands
and other creators.
So I mean, they literally made our experience at NAB. Thank you guys so much. I mean, they took us around to folks that they had partnered with in the past. They took us around, showed us different booths, different products, and we'll talk about our Discord and all that stuff in a little bit later. But those guys are freaking awesome. They're now one of our, I consider friends at this point. We talk to pretty much daily, and we're sharing ideas and discussing. They're going to be on the podcast at some point. We're going to do some stuff with them too. And
be sure to follow them if you follow us, because Cozy and I both are going to be doing a lot more content creator gear. And let me assure you, you're probably here because you like our current reviews. Like we do a lot of Temu stuff. We do a lot of, like I do a lot of gaming accessories. I'm still going to do all that. I'm just fascinated by the creator space. And so you're going to see a lot more of that type of gear. But what's cool about Kyle and Paul is that like now we have a community that like when NAB rolls around, we have two dudes that we know well that we can go hang out with. And it kind of changes the dynamic of going into the unknown, because now you get to go with people where you can all kind of network together. And what's interesting, oh my god, his name just shot away. Gerald Undone was there. I got to meet him, which was really cool. And he was with all like the big creators. So you have like this group that's already kind of gone up together. And I really think this next group of all of us that are chatting in this Discord we have now are the next kind of group that's going to come up, because we've all got like similar sized channels. And there he is. There's Paul.
Paul Feinberg. Want to make sure I said his name right, because I didn't want you to go. Paul Finnebaum is the basketball guy. Paul Feinberg
butchered that last name.
Right. Look at the similarity. It's more similar than me and Mark Stone.
Fair enough.
No, but this is Paul's channel. Make sure you go check him out, and then I'll show you Kyle Watts
at the bottom. He's right there at the bottom. Check out his channels.
Yeah, there's Kyle Watts too.
Yeah, so be sure to subscribe to these guys. We'll link them down below. But that's just what's so cool about this is the networking that you get out of something like this. And like, if anyone is considering starting YouTube or in the beginning of YouTube or even has been doing it for a few years, you will expedite your learning curve and get so much farther on your channel if you start getting to know other people. Because so often, like, you get stuck inside your cave creating videos, and it takes you for like, you might learn something the hard way where another creator could have said, have you tried doing it this way? And then boom, you save yourself 2 months of work right there. So we're really excited about the growth we're going to have from this group and the folks that we're chatting with. So excited to hang out with these guys more for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And looking forward to that for sure. And
we'll have them on this podcast at some point. We'll have them on to chat with. Yeah.
I'm hoping that a lot of folks, I mean, not only did they introduce us to the people there, when we got back and created our Discord, to chit chat, keep up with each other and things like that, they started adding other people to the Discord as well. Mm-hmm. So we're still meeting, other creators through them. And it's been super fun, just to continue to meet new folks. Brian's a guy that I've already looked at his channel a lot, and he did that Canon PowerShot camera. So I mean, a lot of cool folks in that Discord, and be on the lookout for us to start tagging folks and stuff like that, and people starting to show up on the podcast for sure.
Yeah. I'm excited. But you subscribed to Brian's OnlyFans, right?
No, I didn't. Brian has an OnlyFans. Like,
I'm just throwing shit out there.
Oh, okay. Tell him about your foot fetish OnlyFans.
No, hold on. You can't say something like that. Okay, so here's the thing. Let's talk about this. I'm 6'10", as some of you viewers. If you're this far into the podcast, let's just cut loose and talk about it.
Oh goodness gracious! There he goes.
I don't have anything like that out on the web. Okay, I know I could probably make a lot of money because I have size 18 feet. But my first patron on Patreon on my first channel. So I started with Freaky Tall reviews, where I was reviewing products for tall people because I'm freaky tall, right? And then I wanted to get into tech, so I started Freaky Tech reviews. And this channel has vastly surpassed that one. And so now people are like, Freaky Tech, like, what do you review, like weird stuff? I'm like, no, like then I have to explain the whole history of how I got the name behind it. It's the stupid thing. Anyways, so when I started a patron on Patreon, because I didn't have funding to get products yet, I got my first patron, and I don't remember his name, and I wouldn't share it even if I did, because I don't want to call this guy out, because he was very supportive, commented on all my videos, super engaged and active. And I just happened to see who else he was subscribed to on Patreon. And I don't remember. I think I just looked at his profile one day on Patreon, because I had up to 9 people at once, which 9 people at $5 a month. I felt like I was on top of the world. And so I just happened to look at his profile, and I saw he was subscribed to several other tall creators. And one of them, I don't remember this dude's name, but he was like 7 foot tall, wore a size 21 shoe. He had a zipped up leather gimp mask that he wore on this was the stuff that if you clicked on this dude's page you could see, and there was a lot locked behind a paywall, and his whole thing was giant foot fetish stuff. No, I didn't have it in my budget. No, I was not about to go past whatever that was, because like if this is what the stuff he was showing, I was like, if this is what he's showing on his free Patreon like summary page, I can't even imagine what's locked behind that.
Oh my goodness.
So anyways, yeah, so it kind of changed the feeling of seeing like like why this guy was a patron of me, because then I was like, I thought he was just an average supporter, and then
my wife came in,
kind of made me feel a little different. Yeah, she don't need to hear this story. But I appreciated him, helping me out to get new products to the channel. So I will never ever trash anybody that financially helps support the channel. I always am grateful for that. It just made me feel weird.
So Corey basically has it in his back pocket that he can always start a freaky foot reviews.
You know what? I've been doing YouTube for 5 years now, and if one of these channels doesn't start making a difference soon,
that's going to be the change.
We're going to have to talk about
it. Hard pivot back to NAB. But yeah, including like some of the people they introduced us to, like they introduced us to Morty over at B&H. Morty's freaking awesome, and
he got us
shout out to Morty. Morty's freaking awesome. Shout out to Morty. Morty's cool.
Got us into a really awesome after party at the rooftop of the Cosmopolitan. That was. I mean, we can be transparent about just having fun, right? Because I had a lot to drink that night, and we had meetings the next morning, and it was great because I didn't have a hangover, right? Because I was still inebriated by the time we got to the meetings. And so that morning I told Cozy, I was like, man, I'm going to need you to run point on these meetings, because it's going to be a minute. And it wasn't until like 10:30 that I started to really be like, okay,
start to zone down, okay. Come back down. Yeah. Or come back up, whichever way you want to say it.
What a fun time though.
It was fun. And that's one of the things that I guess people don't know about those events, is that it's not just the day, right? It's the networking afterwards, and you get an opportunity to kind of hang out with
that's
folks.
That's where I met
Alo. He's in the Discord too. Yeah.
What is his channel name? I can't remember off the top of my head.
808 State, right? 808 Street, 808 State. Alo.
It's 808 State with a 3 at the end, and he is based out of Hawaii. He's not just product reviews and like gear stuff. He does
whatever he wants,
all kinds of stuff. And he's got a channel that's in its growth stage right now, and he's just a really cool dude.
That is the current status of the volcano.
Is that his page you're on right now?
That's his page. I'm gonna pause it so he has a welcome video. But yeah, that's Alo's page. Alo's freaking dope.
Alo's a really cool dude. Yeah. Chatted with him at the after party, and man, just the people you meet, man. And I can't wait to go back knowing these people and getting to talk more, because the thing about these conferences is they go by just too fast.
They go by fast. Yeah.
Way too fast. Next time we're gonna stay at least one more day, I think.
Yeah. And maybe even more front loaded and back loaded, because the thing of it is that these I'm looking forward to not only like going back to hang out with them, but I want to go travel and do some content together, like especially like within this space where we're working, and we'll talk about that. And I guess we'll pivot over to that now. So we talked about on our channel, like on my channel, I've covered pretty much everything. I've done gaming, I've done consumer electronics, I've done desk setups, I've done content creation gear and things like that. And so for me, it's not really a hard pivot, because I've done a lot of that type of content anyway. But I do want it to be a bigger part of my, my channel. Like when we did the first podcast, it was for content creators. Our very first podcast was focused on what it's like being a content creator, right?
Oh, yeah,
and so,
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was probably one of our most watched podcast episodes. I think there was a lot of creators that kind of jumped into comments and was like, yeah. And then there was also folks that were just interested in like, how do you deal with brands and stuff like that, and what that looks like. And so, NAB gives us the opportunity to speak with these different brands that are the creators or brands and manufacturers of the equipment that we use, whether it's cameras, the lenses, the accessories, the bags, the the tripods, the filters, the storage, the media, the NAS systems, the like everything, the software, Adobe and Blackmagic and all of these different things. So it's just like all of those things, and it's just a larger space, but it gives you more creativity, right? Because I've done a lot of keyboards and things like that on my channel, and magnetic keyboards are the wave right now, but they're pretty much all around the same, right? The difference is the software suite and all of that, right? But for the most part, they do the same thing. They have the same about 12 features. And after a while, it gets kind of like, it's not boring. I still love it. But there's just no creativity. It's like regurgitating information. Whereas in the content creation gear space, you can tell whatever story you want just using the gear. And so like, I can take this 24 millimeter lens 1.2 and just go create a story. Doesn't matter what I come up with. This is what you get from the lens, and so it can be completely different.
It was interesting because like I didn't realize until we were there talking with companies that how we're going to start shaping our content, because like as we're telling these companies why we were interested in their gear and checking it out, I started realizing that you and I have very different use case scenarios.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like you want to do a lot of sports coverage with your stuff. You want to do a lot of like really kind of moving around with different types of gear. Me, I'm a static studio shot guy. So I want to do product videography. I want to talk about how lighting affects products and things like that, and like sliders and turntables and all this kind of stuff. And so it was really interesting. I didn't realize what I was focused on until we started talking to these brands. And then I was like, oh, this is what I want to do. Because so many people do YouTube and they just are kind of don't have a direction or kind of aimless. And so now I think I finally have solidified my pillars of what I want to focus on for my channel. And it might be a little bit too diversified for success, but at the end of the day, YouTube's got to be you, right? You got to, it's not going to be fun if you're doing it for other people and not yourself.
Agreed.
So for me, I'm always going to do the Temu stuff because it's just such a big draw and I have so many people that enjoy that. And I enjoy that. Yeah, it's fun. That I'm going to start doing way more content creation gear, and let's talk in a second about some of the stuff that we're excited to bring to the channel soon. If you want to do a preview, handheld gaming, that for me is going to be big. And the other one is going to be just weird, unique tech stuff that kind of leans into the name of my channel, Freaky Tech Reviews. I like finding just weird stuff and not sexual stuff, you bunch of weirdos. Look at that face he's making. He's so excited about what I'm going to bring into the channel. Anyways.
What was it, Fuzzy Bunny or whatever?
Oh, Motor Bunny?
Motor Bunny?
CES?
See, I knew you knew the name.
You
don't remember any other product names, but you remember Motor Bunny. But
okay, let's on this podcast we provide context.
We covered that in the last episode. Yeah, we did. That was the famous guy that Okay, you covered it in the last. Go watch podcast episode 5.
Okay,
we covered it where we talked about CES and what that was.
Attack of the Dildo Man. That's what we called it. He loved Cozy. So let's talk about.
He was your size feet.
Do we want to? He might have been.
Low key, Corey just hasn't said this. It was his first patron, but go ahead.
No, I'll make it widespread and known that if I start a feet thing. So nothing yet.
You need the money.
You want to talk? You want to do previews of gear we're excited about checking out?
We can do previews of gear. I guess we already talked about Falcam. Falcam, we're going to partner with Falcam, and definitely looking forward to checking out some of their gear because, like Corey said earlier, I kind of disagree with him on like the look. That new, like I have a ton of different tripods and they all look the same with the square ball joint at the top and you move it around. Like Falcam has this circular universal mount that allows you to use different quick place release, whether it's an RE plate, whether it's a newer plate, whether it's their plate, whether it's the Ulanzi claw plate that I have, all of those different things. And you can put it all on the top and it's kind of circular, has a little quick release button that gives you the ability to move the ball head around fluidly without having to unscrew and different stuff like that. And then you just push it back when you get to the position. So there's a lot of things like that I'm excited. It shows you the F38, like, lanyard style thing that you can put around your shoulder and put your camera on and hold it. That actually changed the game for me at NAB. like that made you realize that you don't actually need to bring a backpack if you have something like that to put your camera on.
I'm doing slinging in that thing next year. Also, so at CES, walking around with the Pocket 3 was totally fine. At NAB, everyone's like, "Is this guy real with camera stuff?" And it made me feel bad because I love the Pocket 3, but like, I'm bringing a real camera next year. But yeah, I mean, well, and here's the thing, I don't.
Yeah, they looked at him like he had green bubbles.
Here's like Android user. What's interesting about this Falcam stuff, I like. For me, I think anytime I see a company try to stand out and be unique, whether it be color schemes or something that tries to stand out from the rest, sometimes they can come across as looking a little gimmicky. And with the different tones of gray and silver, it just, for some reason, it just doesn't look like the quality that it is. You don't realize till you pick it up that it's twice as heavy as every other piece of gear that it mimics, because it's just that much better metal that they're using. So for me, it was just, I don't know what it is about it, but like this right here, this little thing, it doesn't look like this solid chunk of steel that slides into place. It looks almost plasticky, but then you feel it and you're like, oh my God, this thing's never going to break. And so that's what I mean by that for me personally. But yeah, I'm excited about Falcam, specifically their motorized lighting setup. I'll be checking that out soon, where it actually, you can use either the app or the remote to move the light around, and it has a payload capacity of I think like 15 pounds, so I can do the same thing with a camera. I could literally put it on a slider and do like pan tilt mode with it, which I'm really excited about. I'm also, we went by the Hohem booth. I just released a video on the Hohem M7, and so did Cozy. And so AI tracking, AI in the content creation space is still kind of in its getting its legs up under it. It's in infancy. That's right. And Hohem does a great job because they take away the need to use an app with your phone in order to track a product, because it has its own built-in AI camera in the gimbal. I just reviewed the one that's for mobile phones, but now they got this new one coming out that's going to be dedicated for mirrorless camera setups, and it's just going to make getting good crispy B-roll, like product B-roll, that much better. Which one's that one?
This is the M7.
Oh, you got the handle on it? I didn't get that.
I paid for it.
Oh,
that's how much I liked it. I paid for the handle. I bought the handle extra.
Yeah, but is that little camera on there? Can you show it?
Yeah, that's this little thing right here.
That's the detachable screen that you can control it with, but show the AI camera on top too.
Oh, you're talking about it's this one here.
This right here. So this little AI camera, you can product lock. You can lock onto a product while it's moving on a gimbal, and it takes away the need for pan tilt models, so that the gimbal will automatically focus on it, and you don't have to like do things through an app. And I just love that functionality. And so like that's something that I'm excited about bringing to the channel for sure.
And I was right again. He just didn't say that because we talked about what Jiyun Weeble. Is it Jiyun? Jiyun, and then you got the Cinepeer, Cinepeer. Yeah. So the MT2 is the current one that's out for Hohem, which holds. I think I don't know. You just said that I was focusing on picking up my toy.
What do you write about? What are you saying?
I said that is a freaking phenomenal brand, and it's probably the best upcoming brand right now for gimbals.
I agree with that. What do
you didn't agree with me until we remember you. So see.
I had never seen Hohem in person.
We saw it at CES.
I know. Until that point, though, I had never seen them.
But so he.
What? No. Here's the thing.
So he hadn't used it yet, and I was telling him that it was. I said the brand is better. I think the brand is better.
I think personally, still, I reviewed the Jiyun Cinepeer and I reviewed the M7. Obviously, two different gimbals, because the Cinepeer is meant for an actual mirrorless camera. This one's meant for mobile. Until I see their MT3 or MT2 or whatever it is that's coming out for the mirrorless camera, I didn't hold my hands on it though. I didn't actually.
You didn't hold the MT2 at CES?
No, I ran to the bathroom. I'll be honest about it. I didn't get a chance. I was kind of tucking my tail because I already had their MT or M7 that I was supposed to review.
Not at CES. That was you got that after CES. You got it from CES.
I don't remember that far back. Too many concussions from football.
Yeah,
and there were a lot of products that we took a look at.
CES was
overwhelming. But for me, having held the M7 again, which is meant for phones, it's not meant for, it's the budget gimbal for phones, and the Cinepeer is meant for an actual camera. Jiyun's physical quality of the gimbal and the motor strength is superior, but again, it's for a heavier payload. So I won't really be able to tell until I check out the next version of Hohem. And I don't know if I have that gimbal next to me. It's like, it's way over there. Anyways, but like anytime you use, you know what, let me get it because I want to show you what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you go get that.
Oh my God.
Look at that.
It's broken now.
See?
No, I didn't break it. It just fell over. Here's the thing. So it's a really cool gimbal, and I love this part too, where it resets into the handle. So when you use this plastic chrome, that to me always comes across as cheap. I don't know why. To me, it just does. It's still an amazing gimbal. It feels good. It's just not like as heavy duty. Again, it's meant for mobile phones, not for whatchamacallit.
I see it just as a design element, but
well, and honestly, they're going for a lighter feel. They really are, and
on purpose.
Right. So I'm not going to knock them for that. Just for me, it just doesn't feel the same. That's all I'm saying.
The MT2, because I did have hands on with it, is really strong and it's really nice. They had a.
Does it feel heavier duty than the M7?
Yeah, it does. I mean, it does because it's the motors are definitely stronger. Yeah. And then this new version has an MT3 and then an MT3 Pro. So the MT3 Pro actually has stronger motors than the first version.
Yeah.
And so I think I think I understand what he's saying because I also have the M3 Crane by Zhiyun. I also have the Scorp 2, which is a very heavy duty, like designed for heavy cameras. Like I can put my A7S III with a 24-70 on there with no issue whatsoever. It didn't even balk at it. And so it's a very big, heavy, and to the point where I was like, I would never take it with me to a trade show because it's so heavy. Right. I wouldn't want to carry it around all day. So I understand what he's saying. But
I would though. This M7, I absolutely
MT2,
would.
like I mean, even like so, I took the M3 Crane with me to NAB. I never used it, but I took it with me to put my A7C2 on it, and it was completely fine. I just didn't take it around. Well, remember I let you hold it.
Right. You know what changed the game for me that I saw you using it in NAB was actually the Blackmagic app. Like their app for the phone that unlocks your iPhone's true camera capabilities. Yep. I really didn't understand how much of a difference that made. And then now I'm using the heck out of it. And I got like in my M7 video, I show product videography of using it with that app. And honestly, unless you are very experienced with a mirrorless camera, it's hard to tell the difference. It is really good. Because I always hear about how good the iPhone cameras are, but like I never really felt like it was that good in person until I used that app, and then I was like, wow, these are good cameras. Even because we talk about like it's never true 6K, 8K because the sensor is just not big enough. That type of stuff was like, even then, it still looked really good.
Yeah, so agreed. And it's Apple over processes everything, and it's not to their detriment. It's because the typical user isn't a professional, right? And so it basically takes away the control and also the failure of a photo. Like you can't take a bad you can't take a bad photo with an Apple camera for the most part, because they're gonna make sure the lighting is good. They're gonna make sure the ISO, shutter speed, all of that stuff is good automatically when you're using that Apple camera. But when you're creating video, there are times where you want to be able to control the ISO, the aperture, the shutter speed, all of those different things, the warmth, right? The Kelvin scale of the where you're shooting in and things like that. You want to be able to control that, whereas that iPhone is always going to make it oversaturated and kind of Samsung versus Sony when you talk about TVs type scenario or whatnot. But what's something else you're excited to bring to the channel?
I'm trying to think of things that are specifically confirmed coming to the channel. I am excited about the is it the Trexo gimbal with the built-in turntable? So that's one that
I want that too. I gotta
that partnership started before NAB, and I'm still waiting on it to arrive. But I actually got to meet the creator of the company, the owner of the company there, and just his passion behind the product. And like it's shipping from Turkey, so it's just taking a while. I assume tariffs are causing problems. But like that, I'm really excited to take a look at. And basically what it is, if you don't know, it is just a slider that has a built-in turntable at the end of the slider. So you can put a product on it, and as you move towards it, it turns the product. And it's a very simple device, but it's genius because I have a tiny studio space. It's not tiny for a lot of creators. It's a 16 by 13 foot room, but it has no storage. And so I need things that can save space, and something like that, because I have turntables and I have sliders and all this stuff. This thing does it all at once. I absolutely love that. So that's something that I'm definitely, there it is. So that little, it's got the pan tilt module that it's coming with as well. Is that it?
This might be a V2 kit that's coming out.
Well, where does the turntable go on there? That's what I don't understand.
It's supposed to go at the end. It's on this end. Yeah, it was on this end at NAB.
Yeah. And then the wheels, they have a new Kickstarter one that's coming out too. And that's the mini
small
slider.
One. In reality, man, this is the one I would want. I want the small one.
Yeah, it's that. Must be the Pro Kit V2 that's coming out. But anyways, this is an up and coming company, Trexo, that definitely one to keep an eye on, because that's what's so cool about like a lot of these companies. There's been a lot of like front runners that have been overpriced for so long. Like looking at you, Edelkrone, you've been way too expensive for so long for what you do. Long. And these little companies are starting to catch up, and I love it. I love the innovation. And that's what's cool, because like when you go to CES, you're just seeing slightly better iterations of stuff that's already really good. At NAB, it's like these things are notably better than last generation. And you know what I would love to see, man? I would love for DJI, because you talk about them releasing the Pocket 4. It's not going to happen this year. I'd still put money on it.
Yeah, it's probably not.
If they have a removable screen like the Hohem gimbal for the Pocket 4, that's game changing.
I think. And so those are the things that I think there's a reason for. And it's not because they don't need it. I think it's because they can charge more for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, say, for instance, they have the current one, right?
You're talking about DJI?
DJI. They have the current one. But what if the next one comes out with the ability to change the, 16 millimeter to a blah, 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 right, with an attachment and also a removable screen? Like, they don't necessarily need to replace the one, because that's, you get what I'm saying? But they can come out with something, yeah.
So imagine this, removable screen, and that's how I had this idea at NAB, hot swappable camera gimbals with different focal lengths and lenses. Like that right there, just be able to remove the gimbal.
I don't think they won't come out with the next version to replace this one. I think they'll come out with the next version that's more expensive to give you a little bit more functionality. It's almost like that camera came out, and I don't think anyone, including them, was expecting it to be as popular as it is.
Yeah.
But now that it's as popular as it is, now comes with the, I wish it had this too, or I wish it had that too, which you didn't think about that beforehand, because it was like nothing was that good, and nobody thought about it. But now, to your point, like you're at NAB and people are looking at you like
it doesn't matter what they do, they're going to look at it like that. That's what I realized when I was there, because I would still say this is. In my Hohem video, I did talk about how if you pair most phones today are so good that if you get a simple gimbal like that, you really don't need more than that. But for most content creators who want to take it seriously, the creator combo from the Osmo Pocket 3 with the mic system is unbeatable. Oh yeah, like that is the best starting point.
Yeah, so that's a start. Yeah, for sure. Especially if you can color grade and all that different stuff too.
Right, because it does shoot in D-Log. But at the end of the day, no matter what DJI does, that will never be looked at as a serious and
a lot of people said that too. Like people are, you can show up with a ZV-E10 Mark II and people will still be like, they don't know what it is, but they know it's a camera with a detachable lens, and they'll think you're more professional than showing up with a DJI.
Well, I'm just glad it has this case on it, because if you've never seen the Pocket 3, let me show you how small this damn thing is.
I know.
And if I didn't have this case on it, it would have been even more embarrassing, because there were some people that were walking around with no case on theirs. Hold on, let me unscrew it really quick. Yeah. So basically, it's this giant 3D printed rig around it, but the actual camera itself. Oh, don't want to
almost broke the top off of that thing.
Golly, I'm trying to unscrew it. God, we can cut this out, right?
Yeah, we can cut that.
Oh my God, there it is. Okay, so you see how big this whole rig is, and then this camera itself is. That's the battery pack. Can you imagine if I was walking around with this?
ET, go home.
I know. Like, look at this. Like, let me get some of your products, man. I'm a professional videographer. Yeah, right. That ain't happening.
Yeah, send me that $2,000 lens.
Right? yeah, right. But anyways, what an experience, man! It's going to be a great year for us, and I cannot wait to see. God,
Lord
bro.
Jesus,
I'm breaking all these things. I'm excited to see where we're going to be at the end of this year. I really am.
Yeah, I think the next 6 months, the channel's gonna look crazy. My channel, Corey's channel, our channels together. this podcast as we start to have other creators on it. Carl's almost done with his move, I think, at some point. So Carl, of course, will be back. He's moving across the country. So he's moving from the East Coast to the West Coast. So that, I mean, he's dealing with a big move. So we'll have, obviously Carl will be back. And so, yeah, let us know, kind of some of the things that you want us to cover and, in future episodes. And let us know about this podcast where we kind of talked about, gaming. We talked about, NAB, and things like that. And I think there's still some subjects that we left off, but we're already at 1:30. So we're going to start wrapping it up. Corey, what you got?
Man, it was a pleasure traveling with you. We went to CES together. We went to NAB together. And you're not a serial killer, which is good. I mean, I'm just glad I survived. But no, it was
the nice thing was more danger than can't be that nice.
Statistically speaking, the big white guy would be the serial killer.
Yeah,
so
especially 7-footer. I mean,
you were
way
more dangerous. Yeah. But anyways, no, it's it was just crazy that we met for the first time this year in person, but we've known each other for over 3 years now. So I'm really pumped to see how this channel is going to grow and the other creators that we're working with and to feature them on this podcast and talk with them. There's just so much cool gear flying around right now that I'm really ready for all this tariff crap to get out of the news.
We didn't even cover that, man.
We can talk about that next time because I'm in a good mood right now. I don't want to talk about tariffs, but it's really going to make review. This last Temu shipment alone took 2 months to come in because tariffs are really starting to slow things down. So hopefully it doesn't slow down our content because that's a whole other story. But
we're not going to talk about it this time, but because it's more financially focused versus logistics, I think once these companies understand how to navigate around it, the prices are definitely going to change. But I think it's more on them to understand what their logistics channels look like now versus their traditional channels. And then from there, we're going to pay more, but I feel like, it's not at some point, I think it'll speed back up. We're just going to have that increase going forward that they will refuse to lower.
The reason it's slow right now is simply because companies are holding their breath to see what happens. And they don't want to oversell their non-tariffed inventory and have to start spending more because it's changing day by day. So hopefully by the next time we have an episode, we have a little bit more breathing room and we know what to expect. So, but no, that was a bit more long-winded than I meant to. But if you've made it this far into the podcast, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to follow. We're going to, this podcast platform, and then also we're going to be releasing just short versions and clips on our other platforms. So it's going to be a lot more active this year, and we're just excited to have you here. So thank you for listening, and it's a pleasure, man.
Oh yeah, same as always, brother. See you in the next one, everybody. Stay cozy.
Bye.
Peace.